Thursday, October 24th, market analysis. Stan Ehrlich. Good morning. 10:07 California time. We start out with the stock market indexes, S&P, DIA, NASDAQ, and go to the futures markets. And tomorrow I'll cover the October lows again, as I have been doing each Friday for the last couple of months. And let's get started. Now, we have 1 week left until the last day of October, next Thursday. It does not look likely that we're going to have the kind of October low, or maybe no October low, this year. Pretty disappointing. It's been over 90% of the time since 1993 that we have seen a buying opportunity of some significance in October. Now, we have started to show some weakness, some sell signals, some new lows for a week or so, a little over, in most indexes, which is the starting point for a break frequently. And today, we are up just a slight bit at the moment. It's a doji, it's an inside trading range day. We haven't seen any significant strength or weakness one way or the other. Market opened on its low, popped up to a high, and then pulled back halfway. Or I'm sorry, it opened at its high, then pulled down, and then it came back up a little at the moment. So, I don't really give a lot of credence in that kind of activity. The details, and this is, of course, the E-mini 23-hour market, opened approximately unchanged, which is extremely normal, and hit a high, resistance area in a general sense, came down and bounced back. Now, to be honest with you, I think this bounce back is about ready to stall out, and I'm kind of expecting, hoping that we're going to see new lows for the move down today, at the latest tomorrow. But that really isn't going to provide what I want for the October lows. At a very bare minimum, I'm trying to get down to the lows that we had back in early September, which is around 5,500 or a little under. But that originally was not my expectation. A few weeks ago, a month ago, I was looking for a move down all the way to 5,150-ish, below 52. That would be fantastic for an October low. It's a new low since August, a couple of months earlier, and even a little bit lower. So given the odds, we're probably going to be coming down to at least 5720 and maybe somewhere between that level and the 5,500 before the close on next Thursday, the end of the month. We'll see what happens. Again, the short-term 5-minute chart on the E-mini popping back up just a little bit at the moment. Up on the day just barely, 12.5, or an S&P numbers 13 ticks, hardly anything. In a minute, it could be lower on the day and turn red. Next, we're down a little tiny bit on the SPY at the moment, and now a little higher. Sorry, it takes a tick update to update the net change. So, no added comments for the SPY. Basically the same type of price movement, of course, and this is the parent market to the E-mini in the first place. Looking for a minimum 565, hopefully a 540 or a little under level. Next, Spider, 5-minute chart, nothing new. Gapped up a little on the 6:30 a.m. California time opening, dropped off to a little lower on the day, and now it's come back up to a little higher on the day. Nothing super significant about today. Yesterday was significant because we made new lows and a new low close for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, looks like about 7.5, 8 days, which is obviously a week and a half. That is not to be ignored. So let's look for the follow through. Lower lows, lower closes, closing prices below previous lows. Next, QQQ, higher on the day by a modest amount, inside doji at a resistance level, also had made new lows for quite a while yesterday and a new low closing price for a couple of weeks as well. I think we're on the way down. Next, we have the QQQ 5-minute chart. Nothing particularly interesting here. Same thing in just detail, of course. The NASDAQ, Doji, looking a lot more bearish as of yesterday, with the closing prices a new low close, not below previous lows, but at least we did break those previous lows and then close a little bit above them. We'll see what we can do in the next day or two. I'm looking for new lows for the NASDAQ at a minimum down to about 19,900 area and hopefully to the lows in early September. But I'm running out of time. Next, NASDAQ. And who knows, it might be a low in early November, but that wouldn't be my October lows. But, we'll track it as it continues, of course. NASDAQ futures currently up a little. Doji, inside day, really doesn't mean too much. Okay. YM, Dow, new lows for approximately 2 weeks. Looking a little bit more bearish than the other indexes. I hope I'm getting at a minimum down to about 4,200. And it would be great if in the next week we could get down to at least, 4,100. So we'll see what happens. But that is my expectation. And here's the YM Lou low for the move today, the only one to do that. Bouncing back up, not even quite up to resistance at the moment on a very short-term basis. But I'm liking the YM chart the best of the group at the moment. And here is the Russell, major historical resistance, topping it out July, September, and now October. I'm expecting a move down to approximately, 2,100, maybe even down to 1990, and I'm not ruling out 1950. One point I've got to make, and I didn't do it, I'm going to go back to the E-mini. You see this high right here. I'm going to put a little line starter right there, and 1 day later, 2 days later, 3 days later, we got down all the way to there. So this little line now is how much it dropped in 3 days. Now, obviously, it's not doing it again, but it's not impossible, not out of the question, and could some form of this happen again, in which case it's going to get down to the lows of September real fast. But again, the odds of that happening are pretty small. Delete. Okay, now let's go to the bond market. Well, what can I say? This has been, and now it's over, a great move. I was thinking back on September 26th, a month ago, what the bond market might do, and this yellow line right here represents the expectation. Go back and look at my YouTubes a month ago, you'll see it. It's happened. It's all happened. The market went up a little, came back down to my line with a big break for a couple of days, bounced back up again, and has just come back in the last couple of days, not only to my line, but it's now at the price levels I'm thinking it'll turn up. It's now oversold for a couple of days, and it's in one of my little support areas. Plus, it's in the rectangle that I drew weeks ago, way before it came down into the rectangle. I'm trying to justify turning bullish. It is a nice rally at the moment for today. It's premature, in my opinion, to point blank turn bullish, but it's certainly acting the way I would like it to act. Now, I think we may have the last shoulder on a double shoulder 2-year head and shoulder bottom formation. October of 22, shoulder. It's a little double bottom all by itself. March of 23, second shoulder, It's the inside, we would say, shoulder. Head of the formation, the bottom, we have a bullish engulfing ER buy signal on the low day. Fantastic. Great trade out of that. Lasted about 2 months. Inside shoulder happened on April 25th of this year. And the timing for another October, exactly 24 months, seems dead on great. So far, we're up 24 ticks. We didn't make it below yesterday's low. And as a result, I don't have a bullish engulfing. Too bad. If we got below yesterday's low in oversold conditions, I would have a green bar here, much like this one, for example. Okay. You can't get what you want every time. But I think we have a low and a last shoulder. Now, the upside objective on this 2-year pattern is way up at 150. Oh, how come I don't have it on this? Oh, maybe I put it over to the right. Yep, there it is. Sorry. There's the upside objective. And reformatting the scaling. The neckline is right there, that blue dotted line at the top. We have to go all the way up to 126 something in order to break the neckline of the 2-year pattern. And then from there up to 150, this is one of the longest forecasts, long-term, multi-year probably, that I've ever made. I'm normally intermediate to short-term forecaster. So I think I see it. Everything's fitting. Got to say it when you got to say it before it happens. Otherwise, it's 20/20 hindsight. Notes. Same story. Now, I've relocated the shoulder low a little bit. It used to be off like something like that, but I moved it over here because I think we're on the track of a movement back up. Almost a bullish engulfing. The low is just a little bit higher than yesterday's low. Too bad. We're at the right price. We're at the right time. We could be making that last shoulder low. For the 10-year notes, the minimum upside objective is for the giant 2-year head and shoulder bottom, double shoulders. Let's call it 126.5. And we're at 111. Okay. Put that back where I like it. And crude. Bearish engulfing, fairly sizable one today, in progress. All it needs to do now is stay below yesterday's close, which looks highly likely. And a bearish engulfing just implies the market's going to go down some fairly quickly right away. It's not a signal for me, but I know what to do with the bearish engulfings. And, other candlestick patterns have a very historical likelihood of working. Bolkowski is the guy's name. He wrote a book on candlestick charting techniques and shows a very good history and explanation as to why some patterns, candlestick patterns, are more reliable than others. And the bullish and bearish engulfing is right up there around the top. Very reliable, usually. Okay, crude, down. We're going to go down to 66-ish. Next, big sell signal on the top of the market in heating oil, but that's ancient history a couple of weeks ago. Today, another bearish engulfing like crude. Down we go, probably making new lows and testing the low of the trend at around 2.1 or even a hair lower. Next, we've got natural gas. Now, this is a different situation at the moment. Although the longer-term trend is down and we just made new lows, it was only for one day in an oversold condition, and it immediately started to rally back up. Natural gas is actually looking a lot more bullish than anything else. We may have had a turning point here. I like what I see in terms of bullish price action for the last 4 days. And I've got to say the rally could come up 2.7, maybe even a little higher. And that, of course, conflicts with the other energies going down, but I got to say what I got to say. Gold, yesterday, bearish engulfing, new short sell signal today. We've rallied back up to the new short ER3 signal levels where we are right this tick. The rally high was up to about 27.55-ish, 56-ish, and to be exact, 56.30. 27.56.30. Excuse me. A little higher than I'd like. I wanted to sell short here. We did sell short here on an ER3, and now we've got a new ER3 scalp in progress and a new ER3 overnight in progress, and we're still short ER1 overnight with a small loss. Yesterday's ER1 scalp did make a little bit of money, but it wasn't very much. And here we are. I'm bearish. Sell signal yesterday. Looks like it could be a pretty darn good one. Looking for a minimum move to begin with down to 26.18. Next chart. Almost had a bearish engulfing yesterday. You realize the high the day before yesterday was 35.07. Yesterday's high was 35.07. Exactly the same. If it had made one tick higher high yesterday, we'd have a bearish engulfing red ER sell signal. Today we're down a little bit more, so I'm treating it like an ER sell signal, but it missed a tick. Everything else is there. Overbought. We'll see what happens. We got a little bit lower low in a support area. It's down some, not a lot. I'm turning bearish, looking for a move down, probably at least to 30 and a third. And I would expect even lower than that. Maybe it'll stop at 32 and a half. That's kind of close. We'll see what happens. Platinum, higher high today, not overbought, so we're not going to get yellow. I turn yellow when it gets above 75 on my custom relative strength index. I learned RSI from Wells Weiler, stochastics from George Lane, percent R from Larry Williams, and on and on and on. I was a lecturer on the international circuit since the late 70s, 80s, and into the 90s, and a little bit in 2010, and it's fading away now. But had a great time doing that stuff. Excellent. Great experience. Love the people. Here we go. Maybe a new reversal today. It'll only be a bearish engulfing if we get below yesterday's low, which we have not done. And we only came from a little lower opening to a rally, a new high ground, all the way back down to around unchanged. And that's how these reversals start. If it keeps on getting weaker, we could have a bearish engulfing. For right now, I cannot abandon my bullishness because we're at a resistance area and we did get to new highs. We are higher on the day. There is no reversal. It just looks like a combination of factors that may develop into reversals and signals. So if you're long, I'd probably say long or maybe raise my stop a little bit. If you're not long, I wouldn't be buying it. Too high, too quick, too long. I'd be waiting for a signal to go short. Next, high-grade copper. Support is holding very well for almost 2 weeks. I probably should pull this over to the right a little bit more, a little support area. That's good. And you see we're bouncing off of the bottom of it, except for a couple of exceptions, but the closes were still inside the yellow zone, my support area. So is this trying to turn back up? Maybe. If it closes below the support area, is it going to go down more? Probably. We're between a rock and a hard spot. I'm going to wait. Okay. Soybeans. Now we're on grain. New high for the move up. We were oversold. We were in a general support area. I didn't put the little rectangle in here, but it should start about the top there, and the bottom, of course, is the bottoms, and so it'd be like in here. Yeah, it'd be right in here. And why don't I do that for Christ's sake for people? That's it right there. And it would be down to right about there. So yeah, right in the middle, bouncing out of it. I talked about support, but I didn't put it in the zone. I'm friendly, trying to justify something much longer term to be bullish. And it's going to take quite a while to develop that kind of a pattern where I can say I'm bullish for a month or six or something like that. Next, well, look at this. Soybean oil has rallied strongly at one point today, challenged the highs for the previous rally since the middle of August, looking a little bit more friendly than beans. I don't know. There's a variety of things here that have causing me to make bullish mention or comment slightly in the last couple of months, but mostly the trend is down. The trend is your friend, and I don't have a major long-term bottom yet. It may develop into something like that. Not yet. Meal. New lows, almost. Not quite oversold, but I do think we're going to make another set of new lows for a month and a half, 2 months almost. So they are not looking the same at all here in oil and meal. So I have to stay bearish on meal. That's not a circumstance I like, being friendly on one and bearish on the other. So one of them is probably going to end up being wrong. We'll find out soon enough, more likely than not. Corn has been unbelievably accurate and profitable. Sell signal, October 8th. ER1 overnight rode it all the way down until the bottom day, October 17th. Out. The bottom day was also a bullish engulfing ER buy signal at the low. ER1 overnight long. 2 days later, we have another bullish engulfing. ER1 overnight is still long. The scalps appear, if I remember correctly, to have made a little bit of money. I'm not quite sure about that. I think so. Not that big a deal. But the overnights are where the big money is, because that, if you're holding a position and you're in the beginning of a trend, which is exactly what we're looking at here since the bullish engulfings, we've had 5 days since the bottom that have been pretty good, and 3 days now, the third since the second bullish engulfing, all of them higher highs and higher close. Today being the third, so there's not very many, but it's working. You're making money. Wheat. No signals recently. Major resistance, overbought conditions stopped the rally very accurately. Just made a couple of days ago new lows for quite a while, a month and a half or so. And a little bit of a bounce here. Doesn't seem like it's that important. I'm looking for new lows. Cattle. Almost overbought again, not quite. In a resistance area. I think it's going to challenge the highs of the resistance because we are finally making new highs with the probability, because we're right there right now, maybe going to be staying above previous highs, which normally would be very bullish. But the resistance area, you got to get over that. And it means getting over about 189.70, the previous tops back here. And it challenged that today. And it's right there, give or take a little, right now. So if it gets up a little bit more or more than that on a close, bullish, even though we're basically in a resistance area. Now, this does go back further in time, and that's why it's particularly important. Look at these tops in a sell signal on the top of the market, September 23, over a year ago, proved to be resistance again in July and late July of this year, a long time later, twice. And guess what? Again, just a couple of weeks ago. So will it happen again? Well, wait and see. Or are we going to blast through a long-term major resistance area and get super bullish pretty quick? Well, I hope not. There goes my filet mignon. Hogs, brand new sell signal today. Brand new. Outside down day, overbought conditions in resistance, one of my favorite combinations. I'm turning bearish. I said yesterday, overbought conditions in resistance, perfect condition in order to get a signal. Here it is, the next damn day. I'm looking for a move down probably to 75 and 3/4 minimum. And I can't rule out something in the neighborhood of maybe 72 and a half and very possibly 70. What are we doing on the E-mini? We're just up a hair. No significant change here. 1 minute, 5 minute chart, that is. Last half an hour, it's kind of stalled out, pulled back just a little. And let's look real quick here at the YM. And I'm sorry, the YM 1 minute or 5 minute. Same kind of thing. Not too concerned about this rally. Looking for new lows. You guys have a great trading day and profitable trading to you.